Today we are going to discuss about the structure and life cycle of Markensia. Markensia is a bryophyte which belongs to class Hepaticopsida. That is, it is a liverwort. Now, the systematic position of Markensia is class Hepaticopsida, order Markensiales, family Markensiaceae. There are about 65 species of Markensia which have been reported so far. Out of these 65 species, 11 species have been reported from India. Most of these species are growing in moist and shady places. Markensia polymorpha grows as part of pioneer vegetation growing on the burned soil after the forest fire and is the most widely distributed species. The main plant body in Markensia is gametophytic. In all the bryophytes, the main plant body is gametophytic, that is haploid and dominant. And the sporophytic phase, that is diploid phase of life cycle, is dependent on the gametophyte both physically and physiologically. That is, it is the sporophytic phase is growing attached to the gametophytic thallus and it is obtaining its nourishment from the gametophytic thallus. That's why it is also known as that sporophyte is dependent on the gametophyte both physically as well as physiologically. Now the morphology of gametophyte. The thallus is dorsoventrally flattened and dichotomously branched. There is a distinct midrib on the or mid-dorsal line on the dorsal surface of the thallus. Similarly, on the ventral surface of the thallus, there is a mid-ventral line. On the dorsal surface of the thallus, large polygonal areas are present in which barrel-shaped air pores are present. The barrel-shaped air pores are characteristic of Markensia. The These kind of air pores are found only in Markensia. On the ventral surface of the thallus attached to the mid-ventral line, rhizoids are present. The rhizoids are of two types, smooth-walled and tuberculate. The smooth-walled rhizoids are having their inner wall smooth, while tuberculate rhizoids are having peg-like projections in their inner wall. The rhizoids in Markensia are unicellular. The scales are present on the ventral surface of the thallus. There are two kinds of scales in Markensia, the appendiculate scales and the ligulate scales. Uh, on both the sides of mid ventral line, these scales are present in two rows. Now, there are two rows of scales on each side of the mid ventral line. The first row, that is which is close to the mid ventral line, that is of appendiculate scales, and the second row, that which is close to the margins, that is of ligulate scales, and these scales are having their violet color due to presence of anthocyanin pigment. Scales are multicellular and they are single cell in thickness. In the appendiculate scale, there is a head-like appendage at its apex. The scales provide mechanical support to the delicate thallus. On the dorsal surface of the thallus, gemma cups are present at the time of vegetative reproduction. The gemmae are specialized asexual reproductive bodies which are born inside the cup-like structures which are known as gemma cup, and these are present on the dorsal surface of the thallus. Similarly, for the sexual reproduction, uh, there are separate male and female thalli, and the reproductive structures, that is Antheridia and Archegonia. They are present in at the apex of a specialized structure. In male thallus, this specialized structure is known as antheridiophore. This is a cord-like structure which at its apex bears uh, antheridial disc in the male thallus and archegonial disc at the female thallus. Inside the antheridial disc, antheridia are present, and inside the archegonial disc, archegonia are formed. This is the figure which is representing the figure A is representing the dorsal view of the thallus, and in which gemma cups are also seen. Figure B is representing ventral view of the thallus, in which rhizoids and scales are seen. Figure C, that is the diagrammatic representation of the TS of the thallus, and D, that is cellular representation of the thallus. And E and F are the structure of the pores present in the Markensia thallus. In this figure A is representing, figure A and B are representing the smooth walled rhizoid. Figure C is representing the tuberculate rhizoid, in which peg-like projections are seen. Figure D is of appendiculate scale, in which appendage is seen, that is a head-like projection at the apex of the scale. And figure E is of ligulate scale. Now, anatomy of the thallus. The thallus is clearly differentiated into upper green photosynthetic or assimilatory zone and lower storage zone. The vertical transverse section of the thallus reveals following features. Number 1, epidermal region. The thallus is bounded on the dorsal side by upper epidermis and towards the lower side or ventral side by lower epidermis. The epidermis is interrupted by barrel-shaped air pores. The air pores are meant for the gaseous exchange. Each air pore consists of 4 to 8 superimposed tiers of cells, and there are 4 to 5 cells in each tier. Thus, each pore is composed of 16 to 40 cells. Half of the barrel projects above the epidermis and half below it. That is, the epidermis is interrupted by these barrel shaped air pores, and these are meant for the gaseous exchange. As they open outside, and uh, the CO2 is entering inside the photosynthetic chambers with the help of these barrel shaped air pores, and oxygen is coming out. That is, these barrel shaped air pores are meant for the gaseous exchange. Now the second part, that is photosynthetic zone or assimilatory zone. The photosynthetic zone is differentiated into photosynthetic chambers which open outside by the barrel shaped air pores. Barrel shaped air pores are characteristic of Markensia. In the photosynthetic chambers, branched photosynthetic filaments are present. The air chambers are separated from each other by single layered partition wall. This is also clear from this figure, that in the photosynthetic chamber, branched photosynthetic filaments are present, and which the chambers open outside by the air pores. Now the third, that is the storage zone. The ventral region of the thallus is composed of thin-walled parenchymatous cells which are compactly arranged and store starch and protein. Few cells are filled with mucilage and oil. Mucilage and oil cells are also present in the storage zone. The thallus is thickest in the center and gradually tapers towards the margin. The lower surface of the storage zone is bounded by lower epidermis. Rhizoids, smooth-walled and tuberculate, and scales, ligulate and appendiculate originate from the lower epidermis. We have already discussed in the morphology section. Now, reproduction. In Markensia, reproduction takes place by two methods, that is vegetative and sexual method. The vegetative reproduction takes place by three methods. Number one, that is by fragmentation. It takes place by progressive death and decay of older part of the thallus. The cells of the posterior region of the thallus after their death disintegrate, and when this disintegration reaches up to dichotomous branching, the branches get separated, and each branch which is having apical cell at its apex grows to form new thallus. The second point is that is by adventitious branches. The adventitious branches develop from any part of the thallus, and after detachment from the thallus they develop to form new thalli. By gemmi. Gemmi are specialized asexual reproductive bodies which are formed inside gemma cup on the dorsal surface of the thallus. Each gemma is a stalked 8-shaped structure which produces two thalli on its lateral side. That is, from one gemma, two thalli are formed. Now, development of gemma. On the dorsal surface of the thallus, near the growing point, a small circular area appears in the form of a depression. The marginal cells of the depression grow upward, and finally a hollow cavity is formed which is known as gemma cup. The gemma are formed inside gemma cup in the following manner. A single superficial cell protrudes out from the floor of the gemma cup and functions as gemma initial. It divides by transverse division, forming a basal cell and a stalk cell and an upper primary body cell. The stalk cell enlarges and becomes single-celled stalk of mature gemma. It does not divide further. Now the upper primary body cell divides by transverse division, forming two cells. Both of them again divide transversely and form four cells arranged linearly. The body of mature gemma is formed from upper four cells. These cells divide by vertical and transverse divisions, resulting in a plate-like multicellular one-cell thick body. The central cell divides by periclinal division so that the body becomes several cells thick in the center. Two lateral notches appear in the gemma and it becomes disc-shaped. Several such gemmae arise from the floor of central cavity of gemma cup. They are intermingled with club-shaped mucilaginous hairs arising from the epidermal cells lining the floor of the cup. In this figure A is representing the gemma cup, figure B is the vertical section of thallus through gemma cup, and C is representing a single gemma. The single mature gemma is a multicellular 8-shaped structure with one-celled hyaline stalk. The two growing points are present on the lateral side. All the cells are green due to presence of chloroplast except few IL cells and rhizoidal cells. And from each gemma, two thalli develops on their lateral sides. Dispersal of gemmae. At maturity, the cavity of gemma cup gets filled with water. The mucilage cells get swelled due to absorption of water and exert pressure on the gemmae. Due to pressure created by mucilage hairs, gemmae detach from the floor of gemma cup and disperse to some distance by the water. Now, germination of gemma. When a gemma falls on the soil, the lower surface, which is in contact with the soil, is the ventral surface, and the face towards the upper side is the dorsal surface. The rhizoidal cells now form rhizoids. Now the apical cell present in both the notches start dividing and two thalli are formed in the lateral sides of the gemma. There is formation of two thalli from each gemma. Now sexual reproduction. Sexual reproduction is oogamous type. Markensia is dioecious, that is, there are separate male and female thalli. The male reproductive organ is entheridium, formed on the male thallus, and female reproductive organ is archegonium, formed on the female thallus. Now, the position of sex organs on the thallus. The reproductive structures are produced at the apex of gametophore or receptacle. The gametophore bearing antheridia at its apex are known as antheridiophore, while those bearing archegonia are named as archegoniophore. The sex organs are produced in the month of April-May once in a year. The formation of sex organs depends on high humidity, low nitrogen, high carbonate content and longer photoperiods. The reproductive branches, that is antheridiophores and archegoniophores, are special modified lobes of thallus. The gametophore develops from half of the dichotomy of the apical cell. Other half apical cell is involved in further growth of the thallus. The reproductive branch grows vertical and becomes differentiated into a stalk and terminal disc. Antheridial disc at the apex of antheridiophore and archegonial disc or carpocephalum at the apex of archegoniophore. The antheridial and archegonial discs are formed by the repeated dichotomy and condensation of the branches of gametophore. The morphology and anatomy of both antheridiophore and archegoniophore are similar. The side corresponding to the dorsal surface is having photosynthetic regions where there are photosynthetic chambers. These photosynthetic chambers have branched photosynthetic filaments and open outside by barrel-shaped air pores. The other side of the gametophore corresponds to ventral surface of the thallus, that is storage zone. The ventral surface of gametophore shows two rhizoidal groups. These are male and female thalli of Markensia. Figure A is representing male thallus. At the apex of this male thallus, antheridiophore is present, and at the apex of at the terminal end of the antheridiophore, antheridial disc is seen. Figure B is showing the female thallus of Markensia, in which archegonial disc is present, and at the apex of the archegoniophore, archegonial disc is seen. This archegonial disc, that is also known as carpocephalum. Now, antheridiophore. The antheridia are born at the apex of antheridiophore inside antheridial disc. The antheridial disc is an 8-lobed structure, each representing a branch of thallus. As the antheridial disc is modification of the thallus branches, anatomically it is similar to the thallus. As we have already read that the antheridiophore is developing from the half of the apical cell. The apical cell divides vertically, and half of the apical cell, that is forming the antheridiophore or archegoniophore in the female thallus, and half of the apical cell that grows further and participate in the development of the thallus or thallus growth. The antheridia are born singly inside the antheridial chambers. They are present in 8 radiating rows on the dorsal surface of the thallus. The antheridia are produced in acropetal manner. That is, the oldest antheridium is present in the center of the antheridial disc and youngest towards the margin. This figure is representing the stages in the development of Antheridium and development of antherozoites. Now this chart is showing the development of Antheridium inside the antheridial disc. There is a cell formed inside the antheridial disc, that is antheridial initial, that divides by a transverse division forming an outer cell and a basal cell. The basal cell forms the embedded part of the antheridial disc, while the outer cell divides by successive transverse divisions to form 4 to 5 cells. A row of 4 to 5 cells are formed in which upper 2 to 3 cells form primary antheridial cells, while lower 2 cells form primary stalk cells. The lower 2 cells, they does not divide further, and these are forming two-celled broad stalk of antheridium. The upper 2 to 3 cells, which are known as primary antheridial cells, they divide by two successive divisions at right angles to each other and forming 2 to 3 tiers of 4 cells each. Now, in these cells, periclinal division takes place to form outer jacket initials and inner primary androgonial cells. The jacket initials divide by many anticlinal divisions to form single layered sterile wall of antheridium. The primary androgonial cells, they also divide many times to form androcyte mother cells. The androcyte mother cells divide by diagonal division to form triangular androcytes. The androcytes now metamorphose into biflagellate antherozoites. Now, structure of mature antheridium. The mature antheridium is having a short stalk and an oval body enveloped by a sterile wall layer all around it. A single antheridium is present inside the antheridial chamber. Inside antheridium, the androcytes metamorphose to form biflagellate antherozoites. The antheridia dehisce in presence of water provided by rain or dew. Water enters inside the antheridial chamber through the mouth of antheridial chamber. The antheridial wall softens by imbibing water and gets disorganized, and antherozoites ooze out at the mouth of antheridium. Now, archegonia. Archegoniophore. The archegoniophore is formed at the apex of the female thallus. At the apex of archegoniophore, archegonial disc or carpocephalum is formed. The archegonial disc is an 8-lobed structure. The archegonia develop on the upper surface of the lobes in acropetal succession. That is, oldest is towards the center and youngest towards the apical region of the lobe. Usually 12 to 18 archegonia are formed on each lobe. After fertilization, the archegoniophore elongates and central portion of the disc bulges, putting the archegonia inverted, and now younger archegonia are shifted towards the stalk and older towards the periphery. That is, before the fertilization, the mouth of archegonium is facing towards the apical end, while after the fertilization, due to elongation of the archegoniophore, the inversion takes place, and by this inversion, now the young antheridia are placed towards the center and older towards the margin. This structure is showing the LS of archegoniophore. This is longitudinal section of archegoniophore through archegonial disc, and here after this is the structure after fertilization, and archegonia are now inverted. The group of archegonia, they are of one side, of each side, they are enveloped by pericytium, and each archegonium that is having an envelope that is known as perigynium. This figure is representing the development of archegonium. The archegonial initial that divides by transverse division, forming primary stalk cell and primary archegonial cell. Now, three vertical divisions, vertical divisions which are concentric, form three peripheral initial cells and a primary axial cell. The basal cell does not divide further, and it forms embedded part of the archegonium. The three peripheral cells, initial cells, they divide by radial longitudinal walls, forming six jacket initials. These six jacket initials, they divide by transverse division, forming upper tier of six cells function as neck initials, and lower tier of six cells called venter initials. In neck initials, they many transverse divisions result to form six vertical rows of 6 to 9 cells, forming neck of the archegonia. The lower tier of 6 cells called venter initials, they further divide by vertical and transverse division, forming venter of archegonia. Simultaneously, the primary axial cell divides by transverse division, forming upper primary cover cell and lower central cell. The upper primary cover cell divides by two vertical divisions, and thus four cover cells are formed. The lower central cell divides by transverse division, forming primary neck canal cell and venter cell. The primary neck canal cell, by repeated transverse divisions, form 4 to 6 neck canal cells. The venter cell divides by transverse division, and there is formation of an upper venter canal cell and a lower egg cell. Now, structure of mature archegonium. The mature archegonium is a flask-shaped structure with a short stalk, long neck, and a broad venter. The neck consists of 6 vertical rows of cells. There are 4 to 6 neck canal cells, single venter canal cell, and a large egg cell. There are 4 cover cells at the mouth of archegonium. Now, fertilization. When archegonium matures, the neck canal cells and venter canal cell disintegrate and a mucilaginous substance is formed. This mucilaginous substance absorbs water and swells. The swelling creates a pressure on the cover cells, and mouth of archegonium gets opened. Now, the entherozoites, many entherozoites may reach up to the egg cell, but only one fuses with egg cell to form the zygote. The entherozoites are attracted chemotactically towards the mouth of archegonium. The mucilage substance, which is formed by the disintegration of neck canal cells and venter canal cell, that is having certain chemicals which is attracting entherozoites towards the mouth of archegonium. Now, the sporophyte. The zygote is the first cell of sporophytic generation. After fertilization, as we have already discussed, that the there is elongation in the archegoniophore, and with the elongation the central part of archegonial disc bulges and archegonium containing the zygote becomes inverted. Now development. Zygote is the first cell of sporophytic generation. Development of zygote starts inside the venter. Zygote secretes its own cell wall and enlarges in size. The cells of venter divide by periclinal division to form two-layered calyptra. Venter wall divides by periclinal division to form a two-layered calyptra. The gametophytic tissue around the venter also divides and redivides to form a collar-like cylindrical one-cell thick perigynium or pseudoperioneum. The zygote divides by a transverse wall forming an epibasal cell and a hypobasal cell. The next vertical division forms quadrant stage of embryo. The second vertical division at right angle to first one results in octant stage of embryo, that is 8-celled embryo is formed. The upper 4 cells of the epibasal region give rise to capsule and lower 4 cells of the hypobasal region form foot and seta of the mature sporogonium. Further divisions in the embryo become irregular. After the 8-celled stage, the divisions become irregular in the embryo. The cells divide in different planes to form a multicellular globular embryo. The cells in the capsular region divide by periclinal division to form outer amphithecium and inner endothecium. The cells of amphithecium divide by anticlinal divisions to form single layered sterile wall of capsule. The cells of endothecium give rise to archisporium. The archisporial cell divides many the archisporial cells divide many times to form sporogenous tissue. The lowermost cells of developing sporogonium divide and redivide to form bulbous foot, and cells between foot and capsule elongate vertically to form seta. The sporogenous cells differentiate into two types of cells: the fertile spore mother cells and sterile elater mother cells. The spore mother cells, which are diploid, divide by meiotic division to form spore tetrads. The elater mother cells do not divide further and elongate to form elaters. The elaters are hygroscopic in nature and they are helping in spore dispersal. There are 2 to 3 spiral thickening bands over the elaters. Now, structure of mature sporogonium. The sporogonia of Markensia can be seen hanging down from the disc of mature archegoniophores. As many as 24 sporogonia may develop in a disc. Each sporogonium is differentiated into foot, seta, and capsule. The protective coverings around the sporogonium are calyptra, that is formed by the periclinal division in the wall of venter of archegonium, perigynium or perianth around the sporogonium, and pericytium that covers group of sporogonia. Now the foot is the basal bulbous portion of the sporogonium. It is embedded into the gametophytic tissue and absorbs water and nutrients from the gametophyte. Seta, this part is made up of vertically elongated cells and is present between foot and seta. It helps in conduction. Capsule is the oval structure surrounded by single layered sterile wall. Inside the capsule, haploid spores and elaters are present. The elaters are hygroscopic and they are helping in spore dispersal. The elaters are also known as sister cells of spore mother cells. As they are sister cells of spore mother cells, The elaters are diploid and they are having spiral thickening bands on their surface. This figure is representing the figure A is representing the longitudinal section of mature sporophyte in which foot, seta and capsule is seen. In the capsular region, haploid spores and diploid elaters are formed. The figure B is representing the spores and figure C is the structure of an elater. Young gametophyte, spore is the first cell of gametophytic generation. Each spore is having two layered wall, outer exine and inner entine. The four spores of a spore tetrad germinate to form two male thalli and two female thalli.